you guys had a great new year. Welcome back to my channel. I know I've been gone for a while. I wanted to talk and give us like an update about like what's been going on in my life. So, and then get to the topic of the video. So mainly, I passed and studied for the AWS Cloud Practitioner exam. And I'm currently studying for AWS Solutions Architect Associate exam, and it is kicking my butt, okay? All of this is kicking my butt. I just would like to state that for the record. I've had to put Salesforce on hold because I think in previous videos I've also stated like my job does not use Salesforce and they don't care. So here we are. So with that being said, one thing that I've noticed now that I've been struggling with being a new developer is that motivation and that ability to self-study. So I know, talking to a lot of my subscribers and just people in general that end up deciding to do a boot camp, a lot of us start off as self-starters, or self-taught. We're interested in teaching ourselves, we're interested in like learning on our own, and some people are capable of it, some are not. I know for myself, I said that I was lacking in discipline, and that is what led me to ultimately decide to do a boot camp versus self-studying. So with that being said, just because you become a developer that doesn't, or a software engineer or web designer, front end, whatever you choose to do, those problems do not go away. So it was great to have structure in a boot camp because, you know, there's somebody checking your stuff, you know, and then from the boot camp, you're motivated to get a job, right? So you're like studying your data, like you're so hungry for a job that if you need to study your data structures and algorithms, which I hope you're doing if you're trying to get a job in tech, okay? Studying, you're working on your resume, you're doing mock interviews, you're doing things, you're tweaking, you're trying to improve, you're gathering your things together to make sure that you can land that role. Just because you land that role, that does not mean that everything is just, you know. And I think I feel like most people who are interested in like moving into this space understand that concept. Like they always say that software engineers and web developers, people in tech, it's always learning. We're always learning. Yeah. But now you also have to motivate yourself to learn. I feel like you get through the hump of boot camp, you get through the hump of finally landing that first role, but nobody talks about after the fact, like staying motivated to study. Those same issues when you were struggling teaching yourself, you know, working and then studying for work. I thought it would personally be a little bit different because now I'm getting paid to learn, and in ways it is. However, sis, which is me, sis is still struggling, okay? I'm still struggling. And I'm not as productive as I would really think or thought around this time. Like this time last year, I would never have thought that not only would I be in this position, but that I'd be struggling. So I wanted to come on here and talk about a few ways that I currently motivate myself to study. Hopefully this will help somebody who is teaching themselves or just staying motivated on the path to land their first role in tech, you know? So with that being said, first thing that I would say is listen to yourself. I am very type A. I like schedules, I like planning, but I'm gonna be honest. Half the week, I probably don't even follow my own schedule. I personally had to learn what I want to do and like execute. Like for instance, I tried the whole night before, write out everything you're supposed to do for the next day. On Sundays or whatever, write out the whole week. I've tried that. And I can tell you, never in type A life, maybe I'm not type A, but never in type A life have I followed it. Never, not completely, not the whole week. It's not me. So I just had to realize that if I constantly am working on it, what I end up doing is I know what I need to get done for the day, and I try and get it done. I've also learned, number two, don't put on too much. You may be, I know who I am. You might not know who you are, but I know who I am. And honestly, I am not going to sit here and do 2 lectures on Java, then an Angular lecture, and code a side project, plus work on a side business in one day. It's very ambitious, and in theory, I would love to be able to do that, but I just know who I am. I had to learn to tailor back what I'm doing in the day, because I'm one of those people that when I get too overwhelmed with getting things done, like I need to do all these things, none of it gets done. I end up sleeping, eating, watching TV, doing everything but what I'm supposed to be doing, and nothing gets done. So I set my expectations really low. That's number 3. Set your expectations low. Like, give yourself enough time to get things done, but set your expectations low. I have all day to study, right? So in the past, I would put 3 things on, like I put AWS section 1, 1.5 hour, AWS section 2, 1.5 hour. So 3, 1.5 hours, what? That's 3, it's like 4.5 hours, right? Is that right? That's 4.5 hours of studying. In theory, I got the time, right? So why wouldn't I be able to do it, right? Because I have more than that. I just know who I am. After about the first section, maybe 2, I'm done. Like, mentally checked out. Not even. So keep your bar low when it comes to studying. Do not, unless you know. If you know you can power through, if it's only a 2-hour lecture, that's different. But for AWS, it's 20-something sections. Like, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do 3 or 4 a day, because that's all I got to do. I can focus on that. Personally, no, I can't. So I just set my bar to 1. I do 1 a day. And if I want to overachieve that day, I do 2. But I set my bar low, like, okay, I can sit through this an hour and a half and get it done. Like, I don't need to sit here. Like, I can do an hour and a half. I can do that. That I can do. I know I can do that. I can sit. And honestly, it's not even an hour and a half, because I watch my lectures at 1.5. That's a tip. A lot of people that watch video lectures, try and speed it up. You'll be surprised how many people you can actually understand at 1.5, 1.25, 1.52, and that speeds your lecture. 3 or 4, I don't know what number I'm on. Use the Pomodoro technique. I highly recommend this because it kind of helps with staying motivated, because in a way it's not motivating, but with the Pomodoro, for those of you that don't know, it's 25-minute sections with 4 minutes of breaks. They do 25, 4, 25, 4, 25, 4, and then 25, 15. So in total, that's 2 hours. So sometimes I won't assign myself a section, I'll assign myself time. Meaning, all right, I'm going to study, I'm gonna use Pomodoro, I'm gonna study for 2 hours, or for this one, I call it 1 Pomodoro. I don't know if that's the technical term, but I'm like, so technically that's 2 hours. Obviously I'm not studying during those breaks, but within this time, my expectation is to get this done. So that's what I will end up doing. Highly recommend Pomodoro. If you guys want like an actual visual, I'll link below the Pomodoro that I actually like to use when I'm studying. And it's pretty useful because you're telling yourself, I'm only studying for this 25-minute increment, and then I get it works. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't always use it, but it's definitely something I would recommend as a tool if you want to stay on task to help you. So honestly, I was struggling with studying for AWS Solutions Architect, and then I looked up how much money they make. Now, okay, I'm not y'all. And the thing is, I don't know about y'all, but I did not decide to do AWS. They're making me do it, you know? So especially having to do something you don't really want to do. I don't know about y'all, but I'm just being honest. I am money motivated, okay? So when somebody recommended me looking up the salary for the AWS Solution Architect, I think that's all I needed, because I was like, oh, okay. Like, this is only gonna enhance me, okay? So I think sometimes it helps to like visualize, put up what it is, like sometimes it helps for you to look at what you are trying to achieve, whether it be that you want a certain salary. What are you gonna buy with that money? I made 2 vision boards. I made a virtual one, like and I put on my desktop, and I have like a real one hanging. But what are you gonna do once you like finish that? I think sometimes that's what we need, is like, we don't see the end goal because it's so monotonous, but sometimes when you have what you want to do when you're done or finished or things like that, I think that motivates you sometimes to actually like get things done. I don't know if this is number 6, 7, I don't know what number I'm on at this point. I'm just gonna stop numbering, to be honest. But I highly, highly, highly recommend Twitter Spaces. For those of you who don't know what Twitter Spaces are, they're this, I don't know if it's a new invention, it's new to me. When people get on there, and people in tech for the most part will host spaces like how to get your first role, and it's like people from different places, and it's usually senior software engineers that are at like FANG companies, and they'll get in there and like you can actually ask questions to these people. So I appreciate and I love when you guys reach out to me, but we're not talking face to face. Like with Twitter Spaces, they get recorded, but if you catch the live one, like you'll find out that a lot of people not only feel like you, they're looking for that motivation, they're looking for that first role, and now you can actually talk to people who are in these positions in more senior levels about maybe how to get there, or hey, I'm not feeling motivated, what do I do, or whatever the case may be. So I highly recommend, if you need Twitter Space, like me, I've been in a few spaces, and I've also spoken in a few spaces. It's definitely been a big motivation for me to get back into coding. I don't code as much as I used to or would like to on the job. And being in that, like in the Twitter Spaces and hearing people hungry and like ready and interested in coding and securing a role kind of puts that fire back in you. So I would highly recommend looking into Twitter Spaces. Just start looking at the tech Twitter, Black tech Twitter, or tech Twitter hashtags. I'm sure like the popular people that are always getting reposted and retweeted are always they're always hosting spaces or reposting. I know every time I see stuff, I repost and retweet. But hearing that hunger and passion that people have for landing a role or joining the community, I think is definitely something that kind of reminds you why you're doing it in the first place. And when you're in this position that I'm in, because one day everybody's gonna be here, we're all gonna be here, I keep saying it, you're gonna look back on this time and remember. It's so shocking to me that I'm almost a year removed from starting my boot camp. At this point last year, I hadn't even considered it, or I wasn't planning to do it. Maybe keep, like with your motivation, keep track of why you want to do it and keep looking at that. I learned with myself, I write my goals and then I don't even look at them. But I noticed that I'm better at achieving my goals that I set for myself when I actually look at them. So I've set a day, it's actually every Thursday, I sit down and I look at my Q1 goals. I decided to break up my goals into the quarters versus like the whole year all at once, and like deciding what's achievable for me. But I'm bringing all that up to say that me making it a point every Thursday, I sit and I look at my goals and I read my goals, and I'm like, all right, refocus. I think that helps keep focus. So being interested in your goals, looking at your goals, constantly seeing your goals, even if you're not necessarily a visual person, I think will in the long run like help. So those are just some tips that I have for staying motivated now, that not only when you're on the other side, but when you're also self-studying, because essentially we're all kind of self-studying. At some point in our careers, you're self-studying, you're self-learning, you're doing things you don't want to do. So I'm hoping that some of these tips will help you. I understand your struggle. Like I said, some days I just feel like I don't want to do anything, and I don't. And I don't fault myself for it, but I also build into my schedule days and times to catch up. So I set my expectations low, and I'm able to meet my expectations most days. And as long as I'm being consistent with meeting things, that's all that matters. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, Some of these people will tell you they do 20 leak code problems a day. They're lying. Some of them are lying. Okay? Some people lie, okay? And that's just what it is. So don't compare your journey to somebody else. I know it's hard not to, but do not compare your journey to someone else. You don't know what they had to do to get there. You don't know who they knew or whatever, but stay your path, focus the goal, eyes on the prize. Just try and improve and be better than yourself. So I'm just trying to shoot out tips. If anybody has additional tips they would like to add that they feel like are helpful, please leave them down below. I would love to be able to see, read them, maybe apply some for myself, or you might be able to help somebody else. But I know it's hard to stay motivated, especially during COVID. I know it's hard to stick to a schedule and things. So I'm hoping that this video will reach somebody that may need it, but just know you are not alone on this journey. We're all struggling. Even people who you think have made it are still struggling. So just wanted to kind of get on here, give out that little tidbit. I needed that break. You know, I loved making YouTube videos and I love speaking to you guys, but sometimes you gotta take a break. So that's it for me. I hope everything's great with y'all. Happy New Year. I feel like Black people, it doesn't matter when the New Year was. We're gonna keep saying Happy New Year because this is my first time seeing you guys in the New Year. So Happy New Year to you guys. I hope you guys have a great one and I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one.